Zambia. Follow is a community, or Follow Zambia is a community that helps local developers by bringing them together and helping them grow in their careers and share insights in the industry. We're having a developer session today with Michael Sinkolongo, a developer also based in Lusaka, Zambia, working at CBU. And with me are my two lovely co hosts, Joe Bryan and Sambwa. So I'll take just start with a short introduction about yourself, and let's go from there.
Okay, thank you, Wilfred. My name's Jobrian Vunda, and I'm also a software engineer. Um, I also help out on For which is what Wilfred explained. I'll hand it over to Sambwa.
Thank you, Jobran. My name's Samboj Pungu, a software developer based in Lusaka. And yeah, I'm also part of the Follow organizers team. Thank you.
Sambwa, did I miss your introduction?
You did?
Yeah.
You didn't hear anything?
I think I did get you.
Okay.
Wilfred, did
Maybe I
you
missed it.
get
Joe
me?
Bryan, sorry, Michael, would you
I
like
got you.
to?
Uh-huh. Would I like to introduce myself? Okay. Um, Michael Sinkolongo. I'm a developer working for CPU, based in Osaka, specifically working
Yeah,
on embedded applications.
I didn't get you quite
Yes.
clearly. The audio.
Okay. Can you get me now? Can you get me? Okay. Yeah. So Michael Sinkolongo here, working for CPU, Osaka, business and innovation is here. That's where I'm currently working with CPU since 24. Yeah. I don't know if you got that. Hello?
Hello,
Hello?
Michael. I think your line was breaking at some point.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I
But
think
can you get?
there's just a bit of lag in between.
Mhm.
Maybe you could do the intro again.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Michael Singolongo, working for CPU. I think that is a business and innovation center based here in Osaka. But I've been with CPU since 2012.
Okay. Nah, yeah, that was clear. Wilfred,
Okay.
do you want to take it up, or should I take it up? Okay, looks like I've lost Wilfred there. All right. So basically, the whole purpose of the Dev Spotlight is just to hello, hello.
We can get you, boss.
All right. So like basically, the whole purpose of the Dev Spotlight is just to invite developers and then get to ask them questions about themselves, how they view programming, things that they like, their life, lifestyle. Hopefully, that we could have some people could get encouraged by that to writing code, and then they can also uh, maybe pick up some few things on how to do certain things or how to go about certain challenges that they face in their development career wise. So we're great to have you, Michael. All right.
Okay.
So just uh, I've got a couple of questions that you'll go through. So, and the first one is, I think it's a basic question where you just say, tell us about yourself before you got into the checking part. So, who was Michael before the checking
Go
part?
through. So, and the first one is, I think it's a basic question where you just say, tell us about yourself before you got into the checking part. So, who was Michael before the checking
Go
part?
through.
So, and the first one is, it's a basic question where you just say, tell us about yourself before you got into the checking part. So, who was Okay. All right. Before I got into the tech industry, I was a student at CBU. I was doing IT, but my first branch with programming was way back in somewhere 2006 when I was doing electrical electronics. So I first started off doing electrical electronics because I mean that's what I thought I could fit in. Okay, but my first was with Pascal. Was I don't know about now. Back then, at school, they used to teach Pascal, programming language that is for learning. So the first time I had a that it didn't make sense. It was all gibberish and just wasn't enough for me. So eventually, I couldn't continue electrical electronics. I dropped out because of a few issues here. So I went home, tried to reassess the situation. That's when my father bought me a website, and that's how I was sort of interested in the IT space. So I started working on my website. My first passion is actually writing. So I would write some stories, I post them on the online, and get a number of views. Eventually, even started making a bit of money offline on off my website. Sorry. So when I went back to school this time, I decided to study IT, and for some reason this time it all made sense. So all the dots were connecting together, and that's how I got into IT. And I was quite a good student, such that before I could even um, such that before I could even finish completing my school, I was invited to join CPU to help them develop a student information system. So that's how I got into the industry of programming.
Wow, it's
Yeah,
quite an interesting story.
yeah, it
Okay.
is.
Yeah. All right. So could you like share a little bit about what a typical day is like for you?
Okay. Typical days. Oh, basically, I think it's more or less like everybody else. Get up early around 5 or prepare myself for work, join the traffic crash. By 8 hours, I'm at the office. I take about an hour so initializing myself because hey, it's not every day that you feel like programming, so you have to force yourself into it. Because I mean, that's what work is. Then by by the end of the day, I'm exhausted, and all I want is to go home. So again, traffic crash, back home, and the daily cycle continues. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. That's,
yeah,
I guess, about the traffic is, most of us can testify to that. And
yeah, yeah,
they work from home usually. Some of the devs now are working from home. Some companies, so usually they it's been a while last time they did the traffic
yeah,
crash.
yeah, yeah. True.
Okay. Um, so is there anything like what you do outside coding? Because there's this notion of like a life of a developer is it's always you spend your all your time on the laptop, day in, day out. You come morning,
Come
afternoon,
on.
even during the night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is it the same with you, or it's quite different? So, what do you do outside coding?
I guess
So,
that's where the notion of programmers have no life comes from. Because hey, come on, if you spend all your time on the computer from 9 to 24/7, then you have no life. You're practically dead. Yeah. Well, outside work, I watch TV like most normal people, like binging series on Netflix. Okay. And I write. I said earlier, I like writing stories, fiction. Been doing so since I was 11, so it's interchangeable. Now there's coding in the mix, which unfortunately likes to most of my time. Yeah, but I'm trying to balance that. So I do write uh, a lot, and that's how I try to maintain my sanity uh, in this stress industry. Yeah.
wow. Okay. Maybe you can share more insight on writing, like what type of is it articles that you write, or books?
Okay. I like writing short stories. You know, short stories usually focus on a single theme, some moral that you're trying to teach your readers. So that's what I do. I like short stories because within a day I can finish a short story and share it with my friends, and in that way share a moral with my friends. And it's also a way of just exploring the world around me, thinking of it in different dimensions and trying to understand it. That's what writing does for me. I also write sometimes stories about my programming life. Yeah, so it's fun. Yeah. Mm.
I'm sure Wilfred and someone, my fellow devs, would love to read some of your stories, and hope they
Mm.
won't be keen on just developer side of stories.
Okay. Hey.
Right, Samba is
Yes, I can
Samba
hear you.
there. Uh, okay, you have
Uh, maybe I can try take up the next question. Yeah, thanks for sharing those insights, Michael. Are you able to share with us any developer horror stories that you've had from the past? Maybe you dropped a server at work, or maybe you cleared the DB, a production DB. So, are there any developer stories that you have ever encountered in your career?
I don't think I really did something that dramatic, but but hey, I think my horror story was just realizing that maybe the industry is not as glamorous as it really seems sometimes. You know, when you watch movies, everything seems to be so perfect and so flawless. You see a guy typing away 1,000 characters per minute, and you think, hey, that's what I want to be. So anyway, my horror story happened when I was I think it was early on in my development work, and I was one of those kids. I think I was like Bayern. I was like the whiz kid. Everyone was looking to code to sort out their problems. So when they realized that I could code quite fast and come up with solutions in possible time, I was given impossible task of completing the rest within a day or two. So as you can imagine, I got so tired, felt at that point he just wanted to stop, quit, and ran away. I think for a bit I even ran away for like 2 or 3 days. I ran away from work, not necessarily running away, but sort of just went more like offline, not really offline, but offline line, because I was so tired and exhausted, and all this pressure was coming in from all angles, and it was really breaking me down. But somehow after that, I managed to get over it, and I continued working. But otherwise, it was one of the most difficult times. Here was I was just starting out development, and all of a sudden, all the pressure was on me. Everybody from all angles was looking to me to provide solution to their problem. And so you can imagine how horrific it was for me at that time to maintain that pressure. So I had a nervous breakdown a bit. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that does sound like a bit of a horror story there. You've got people looking for you. But yeah, thanks for sharing. Yeah, developer burnout is definitely real. I've experienced it myself. So I'll allow Joe Bryan to take up the next question, please.
Okay.
Okay. Seems we might have an issue with Joe Bryan on his side, or is it just me?
I can't seem to see him again.
Okay. I think we might have lost Joe Bryan there for a sec. So Michael, let's maybe try to hit with the next question.
Mhm.
So what do you think has been your greatest accomplishment in your tech career or your tech journey?
My greatest. Wow. My tech career. Well, there are a number of accomplishments which I've I could say they stood out. I think my greatest accomplishment was earlier on in my career. Here was I just coming from school, and I was thrown into the industry and expected to do wonders. So I actually assisted in developing the first ever online student information system on for CPU. It was a challenge. You know what we learn in school and what we find on the ground is, is totally something different. They don't really prepare you for the pressure. They don't prepare you for the unusual circumstances you see in industry. You see, with coding, when you code an app which you just test on your local machine, maybe share it with a few friends here and there, everything works fine. But when you go into the industry and you are confronted with this system which you have to serve to thousands of people, that's when you really put on the test. That's when your code is really put on the test. But I'm uh, I'm glad that somehow and it was a great learning experience for myself and other people involved in the project. And I would say that's what catapulted me into the tech industry really. What we're able to accomplish in those few months when we just started working on the online student information system.
Oh, hello. I think I can. We can testify to that. That was a groundbreaking application that was introduced. Caught us by surprise, and the the design was it was just pretty astounding. Yeah.
Simple. A bit ugly, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, that was for once was a pride of IT section.
yeah, yeah. I remember.
No,
Mm.
yes. Yeah. So like, what advice would you give to like a young developer who just starting their developer journey?
Oh,
Is there some advice you could give to those guys?
development is basically about learning all the time, being willing to adapt, to change with the times, especially nowadays. Mm, don't assume you know everything. Obviously, you can't know everything. Always leave room to learn stuff, new stuff, and be humble. Yeah, because programming, the industry has a way of humbling you. You think I am there, I've reached there, I'm at my peak, I'm able to develop better than anyone else, I'm able to make this, it's able to work. So I'm a genius. The next day you might find the very application which put you up there can bring you down because you didn't really take your time to look into how to implement it, and you didn't look at all the security measures that you should put into your app. So it's something that you always have to leave open, that possibility that something that you've missed out somewhere. So just be humble, keep on learning, and don't assume you've reached there because there's really no reaching. We're ever learning, ever adapting, ever evolving, just like the software we produce. So that's the best advice I can give. Keep on learning, be humble, and learn from the best.
Yes, yeah, I totally agree with you. Today you might be a pro, tomorrow things might be different, and with the ever-changing environment, what you know today, tomorrow it might be duplicated. It's gone.
Mm.
Wilfred, you want to take up the next question? Okay, I think we've lost Wilfred. All right. The next question will be, how would you use technology to help your immediate environment? So, like the tech that you know about, how would you utilize them to improve or to help your immediate environment?
Okay. You're talking of people, the environment.
I'm sure maybe with now that we're in the realm of COVID.
Okay. My sort of technology has been more people oriented. Yeah. So I always want to find ways of using technology to connect people, to uh, to provide services, to, to entertain. For, for example, I'm currently working on an app to help writers to publish their work. Traditional publishing, when you go to publish and say, I have a manuscript, can you please publish it? It's not that easy. And you spend more money into marketing and selling your book. So for you to actually start getting returns, it may take a while, or it may need a lot of effort. But most writers don't have that kind of money. They're starting from scratch. So the writing app that I'm working on is to help writers start from publish their work, because most of them have a lot of short stories that are just on their machines. They don't know what to do with them. Maybe they've tried submitting to some publishers, but the publishers are not helping out. So this one is supposed to help a writer publish their work and get deliver it and start making money out of it using the payment methods that we're now getting so used to, becoming second nature to us, like mobile money payments. So far, I've had a great start. I've interacted with a few writers here and there, and most of them are interested in the idea. And I hope to grow that idea to reach more people. Like I said, because my approach now is to mix my passion, what I like doing, with programming, so that way both of them can move on together.
Oh, thanks for that. That's quite an interesting journey that you have.
Okay. Maybe I can hit Michael with the next question.
Sure.
All right. So, Michael, quick question here for you is, do you think anybody can be a developer? Do you think anybody can be a developer?
um, I often say I'm not. When people say, "Hey, you're a genius, you're able to do this or do that," I often say I'm not. I'm not a genius. I'm just obsessed. I have a certain idea and I want it to go out there. So that obsession is what drives me. The human mind can be anything that it wants to be. You can be anything that you want to be. So it's about the wanting. So I've seen people who've come from totally non-technical backgrounds. They've never studied IT, but they're very enthusiastic about programming. They've seen the possibilities. It's enthusiasm that propels them on. When I said I looked at code, it's gibberish. It didn't make sense. I tried to understand it, but I couldn't. Then later on, it all started falling into place. The way the human mind is wired to whatever um, you want it to be. So anybody can be a programmer as long as they have the interest, they have the passion, and they're able to project and see how this can work out for them. They're able to that they want to come up with. So about the interest, how interested is someone into this? As you know, programming is more of a skill than something we're born with. Not well, we can't say we're born programming. You learn the skill as you go on. Of course, there's some people who are more mathematically inclined than others, so for them it will be easier than others. So for them it will be easier and faster to catch up on the logic. But anybody, as long as they are very interested in it, they can program.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. You hit the nail right on the head.
Hello?
Yes, yes, we can get you, Wilfred.
Yes. Okay. So I think the last question for you, Michael, is do you have any developers out there that that inspire you to keep doing better at what you do?
I think we still have some three or so questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they're there. Obviously, there are those weak kids out there who just I see a lot of them. You find them doing great stuff. You see them on Bongo High. You see them on Facebook developer circles. They're talking. I can say I'm a developer, but it's not every technology I know. It's only recently when I learned front end technology like Angular and, and React. I'm still looking into that. Most of my work is on the back end, the spaghetti code, the spaghetti PHP, Java, uh, those things. So uh, there are a lot of people out there who are doing great stuff, and I like keeping tabs on what's going on, and it's amazing to see what people are achieving. I have a few friends who inspired me to critically look at myself and say, hey, am I really a developer? Am I really doing the stuff that I'm supposed to do? Am I current? Or am I a dinosaur? Am I outdated? Because it's so easy to become outdated these days. One person that inspires me to that is someone who would say never really came from a developer background. His name is Lee Luando. He's he came from a business background. He was this business guy who only saw possibilities in software and started learning and quickly caught up and overtook all of us. Yeah. So he's one guy who I look at what he does and like that's awesome. That's good. I should be like that also. I should be enthusiastic. I should be willing to learn and I should be pushing myself. I should get there. Buyu is one Buyu Lucas. Is one person who is very enthusiastic about technology, about learning the latest and keeping up with the Joneses of programming. And yeah, he inspires me as well to look at what I've done and what I'm doing and see be better and
All right, wonderful, wonderful. I think we need to have Mbuyu and Mr. Lee on the show as well. There's some big players.
yeah,
I
we need
I
to have those
agree.
guys.
I agree.
Right, wonderful. JB, is you have a question for Michael?
Thanks for that, Michael. Um, so uh, the next question is I'd like you to tell us about Reshape platform. I'm sure not there are quite a number of people who know about this platform, Reshape, and some people that do not know about Reshape. Would you care to share information about Reshape?
Okay. You'd say Trisha was like the apex of my programming career, so to speak. It was a hobby, still is. Yeah. So basically,
And
it was inspired by um, the idea that Zambians should have their own social platform. And so I was like, okay, challenge accepted. Let me do that. So I started working on it. The very first version was very basic. It was all made up in PHP with the little knowledge I had in HTML. I've never really been strong at the UI development, but I've always had this strength on the back end and making things work. So Twisha was, like I said, at the apex of my coding career. I learned a lot. You find success in many ways. You'd say, well, Twisha, where is it now? Probably tucked somewhere and no one visits it, so it's not successful. But when you look at my initial, the reason why I created it, I think it it was successful, and it's a success story that I tell over and over again because I achieved what I wanted to achieve. I made a social network, made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, made a lot of blunders. I underestimated the complexity of running a social network. It is very time consuming. It's very resource consuming. That's why you see giants like Facebook, Twitter, they have a lot of cache savers to save the platform. So in my own small way, I managed to, at its peak, I think we had over about 20,000 users using the platform and self-sponsoring it. I was able to achieve some degree of success. We had people who were obsessed with the platform who couldn't keep away from it at that time because it was arranged to be more or less like an online game where people can own assets, they can own houses, they can literally live in this virtual world. It was made in it was a very simplistic site, 2D, simplistic with a lot of text, the boss text, obviously. Um, but it did create some sort of family togetherness that at that time not even Facebook could. So it is a success story. It's actually where I met my wife on Twitter. So it's one of those things that I hold fondly. Um, in my in my memories. So it's still there. I've been working on an Android version of the app. So I stripped off I decommissioned the web version. Wanted to focus on the Android version of the app. So of course I haven't put in much resources. I haven't put in much money into it because I sort of diverted my attention to pursue my first passion, which is writing. So Twitter is there, and as long as I am, I think it will always be there somewhere. And who knows? One day we could just resuscitate it, and it could come back. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe to some people that wouldn't understand what Twitch was, maybe in a few, maybe a line or two, maybe you could explain what was Twitch and what was it all about.
It was what is a social networking site. So the original idea was this site should should be more or less like a game, and people should be able to affect, like the actions you take on the site could affect another user on the same site. So we used to have a lot of things there we could interact in very unconventional ways, like we could visit each other. You'd create virtual homes, and people would visit you in that home. People could rob you. People could break into your house, and people could actually shoot you. You die. Uh, that would mean your account is deleted and you have to start all over again. People could be jailed. People could be banned out of jail. People could become king. They could become queen and start ruling over other people on the platform. So that's what it was. It was a game.
I remember it was a thing way back when people would become kings and queens. Yeah,
Yeah.
during those days. Yeah.
Mm.
All right. Thanks about that. The next question is on uh, during the my days at CBU, I used to hear about LJ Kundananji. This I think
Yeah.
it was another platform of yours where you ventured into teaching people on how to write code and how to go about programming. I can testify I was the recipient of those materials, and that's where I also started my development skills from. What was the motivation to start teaching and writing such content?
I've always had an interest in teaching others, and I think it goes all the way back to when I was a little kid. I would give my brothers, my friends quizzes, trying to quiz them on what they know. And so I developed that interest in helping others to learn stuff. And when I went to school, most of my friends would be coming to see me because I had this way of explaining programming to them and they would understand it. So I thought, hey, I could teach people how to program. So in the early stages, yes, I developed some kind of course. It was one of those, you try out a lot of things. It was one of those things I tried out, uh, teaching people. But by then, I think it was, I would say, a bit early for me. I was still learning programming, and by then the market is not as open as it is now. It's not. It was not that easy to make money online. It was kind of a closed up system where you have these mobile money markets. They didn't really realize what they had, and I think we also didn't exploit what we had at that time. So it sort of fell off the board, but maybe one day in future I could resume that uh, and create a platform or be part of a platform to help other people understand this monster we call program. Just kidding, it's not.
I agree because the material was quite straightforward to start with, and if you just dedicate like a day or so, you would and even the way you're explaining, you would see that it was easier for somebody to even grasp what you are talking about. And I take it because of your writing skills, your writing background, it was easier for you to write content.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, basically, yes. So
Uh,
the ability to write is what helped me to write in as clear and simple a manner to convey these complex topics that we have.
oh, okay, that's great. So our next question is even the last question now. Would you say you have achieved what you wanted to achieve in terms of your career? If not, what are like your prospects? Like
Okay.
from yes.
Yeah, I would say I have because I understand what it's all about now, and I think I'm ready to retire. Yeah, if you get the concept of what programming really is, if you want to be a programmer, oh, it's easy. It's basically understanding what needs are there and what tools are there to help you meet those needs. So programming will never end. Well, maybe when AI takes over the world, but it will never really end. So programming is really problem solving. You've been given a problem and you have to solve it, and you've been given the tools. So now the challenge comes in putting those tools together to come up with a solution that will work and that will make sense. So it's that's what the gist of it really is. So in that context, yes, I've been on more than enough projects, and I I have helped out, and we I have achieved quite a lot. And I would say yes, I have. But long run, I'm looking at doing something that involves my passion, something that involves what I love doing, so that I take it away from being a job, because jobs sometimes get boring and you get burnt out,
I
and
agree.
into a passion. So that's how I came up with this idea, saying, hey, I can program, I can put these things together, I can learn from Stack Overflow, I can learn from Udemy, I can learn from Google scholarship programs. I can put all these things together and use it to support my passion, which is writing. So if I could come up with a platform that ultimately helps me to achieve that passion of writing for a living, or writing or as a career, then that's when I'll say I really achieved what I ultimately want in life. So ultimately, yes, I know the fundamentals of programming, and I can learn new languages fairly quickly. For example, it took me about a week to understand what Angular was all about and put up an application, which people are actually accessing right now. So it's not so much about have to learn all the languages out there. It's impossible. It's about it's about understanding the problem and then using the tools that are there to achieve the solution to that problem.
Wow, that's nicely said. Well, I think with that, brings us to the end of our dev spotlight. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the community?
Okay, to the programming community. Um,
Yes.
well, we just need to help each other. We are on. We shouldn't compete amongst ourselves. Um, the strength is in working together like ants. Basically, we have to assist each other. It's not an easy industry. People burn out. People are the whole industry. I think is misunderstood, especially in my African country, where people would want you to constantly be programming. You're expected to sit at your desk from 8 to midnight or 21 because they have these deadlines that they have to meet. So that can get draining, and people can easily quit along the way. So as programmers, I think we should be like lawyers. You know, lawyers stick up for each other, and they have created this environment where they protect one another. So I think as programmers, we should also ultimately find a way of protecting one another because it's not easy being a programmer. We're at the mercy of users. We're at the mercy of managers who in themselves are not programmers, but all they want is to see a solution and don't understand the complexity involved in putting together something that actually works. So we need to be our own brothers keepers and help each other achieve our goals.
Thanks for those remarkable insights. And for others that would like to reach you out or contact you, there, how can they do
those
that? Remarkable insights. And for others that would like to, like maybe Facebook, a Facebook page, a Facebook, a Twitter handle, LinkedIn.
Yeah. I'm kind of pathetic these days at social media, but well, I'm always online, saying very little. I don't know why. I think it's a phase. Yeah, but you can reach me on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Michael Sinkolongo, and also a Facebook account. Twitter, Mike Sinkolongo is my Twitter handle, so you can reach me. I'm there in the background, in the shadows, working hard. Yeah, you may not see me maybe broadcasting it, but I'm always working in the background.
Uh, all right. Thanks with me. This is where I rest my case. Thanks, Michael. It was an honor hosting you and getting to catch up on this platform. Wilfred, maybe you can take it up.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. It's been a great session. Learned a lot from you. I'm going to replay it so that I can just let that knowledge assimilate as well. Thanks to our co-hosts as well, Joe Brian, Sambwa, for holding it together. I won't add anything more. It's been a great session.
Great. Been nice being here. We should do this more often.
Joe Brian, you can just I guess we are done. So yeah, it's been a great session. Hoping to learn more from you, Michael. Yeah, so we'll see you guys in the next stream. Hopefully very soon. All right, see you guys.
All right.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye.